Congratulations for your wonderful performance of this magnificent concerto.
Thank you.
Now, let me ask you some few questions. How did you start your musical journey and learning piano? And how old were you at that time?
Well, my musical journey technically started when I was around three and a half. That's when I first started to learn the piano. My mother was the one who started teaching me the basics, the fundamentals for a period of around 1 year or 2 years or so, and then we found another professor who at the time was a professor in the faculty of Central Conservatory. So we studied with him for a little bit, and it's a pretty early start for a musical journey, I guess, three and a half, something around that.
That's really young. And who are your teachers up to this moment?
Well, up to this moment, it's been 3 or 4. Well, first, as I just said, my first teacher was my mother. My second teacher was Dr. Zhang, who was, again, a professor at Central Conservatory in Beijing, China. My third teacher, and the one that I've studied with the longest, I think 9 years now or something, it's a long time, Dr. Young Steinway Artist, former UBC faculty. And last year, I was enrolled at the Juilliard Pre-College, and I studied with Professor Matti Raikallio for a year. And starting this summer, I'm studying with Professor Chen Hongquan.
I see. Okay. Who made the most impact in your music development?
Well, music development, well, the first person that comes to mind is one of the teachers, because teachers influence you not only just in pianistic-wise, they make you a better musician, they teach you how to navigate the complex world of classical music. And the first person that I think about is Dr. Rachmaninov, because I have studied with him for a really long time, like 9, almost 10 years now. So, he's given me a lot of inspiration and a lot of guidance on different styles of music and different composers, and he's the one that kind of shined a light on the path that I'm going down in classical music.
Mm-hmm. So just recently, you're designated as the Young Steinway Artist. How do you feel about it?
Well, first of all, it's a great honor to be designated as a Young Steinway Artist, because it's not only a name, it's also a statement of who you are as a musician, because there's not a lot of them in the world right now. I think something around 100. So to be named as a Steinway Young Artist, this means some people somewhere around the world has recognized some part of my musical ability. So again, Steinway and Sons, it's a really prestigious brand for piano. It is the most sought after piano brand in the world for soloists. I think they have a statistic of 98% of concert pianists choose Steinway for their performances. So to be considered in the same musical Steinway family as many of great musicians, Vladimir Horowitz, Arthur Rubinstein, Dr. Eugene Skolveronikov, these are all great musicians who have a lasting impact on classical music. So for me to be considered in the same family as them, it's an honor, and I'm really happy to receive the title.
Okay. You performed tonight one of the most challenging piano concertos. How do you feel about it?
Oh boy, this concerto is, there's a lot of huge piano pieces in the repertoire, but this one is one of, if not the most challenging in terms of, classical piano. It's called, basically the Mount Everest of, piano playing. So this concerto, it's impossible to list like a specific challenge, because the whole thing, all 43 minutes of it is a challenge. Mm. All 3 movements, I think there's a statistic on Google, there's like 60 or 30,000 notes in the whole concerto. So it's a lot to memorize. And, one of the biggest challenges is having to practice it by yourself at home, but then you have to cooperate with the orchestra on very short notice during the performance. And this concerto has a lot of different parts where it's really easy to lose track of where you are and what the conductor and the orchestra is doing. So for me, that is one of the biggest challenges for this concerto. Obviously, there's a lot of big chords, repeated notes, all these virtuosic challenges, but the element of cooperation is my number 1 right now.
Do you think it was an enormous challenge to learn and to perform this piece?
Yeah, and I think everybody who's ever played this concerto is going to give the same answer, yes, because it's huge. It's not the longest concerto, but it's definitely, has probably one of the most notes in a piece ever. So yeah, it's a really big challenge just to navigate through this jungle of notes that's on the score.
I see. Then who is your favorite performer of this concerto?
There's a lot. It's hard to name a favorite. Horowitz was probably one of the original, interpreters of it. Argerich is probably the most, technically amazing out of them all. But personally, for me, Bronfman was my favorite performer because when I was listening to the piece, he shocked me because he was like a complete orchestra by himself. You can hear every single note, no matter if the orchestra's playing. When the music comes to a climax, he would out-orchestra the orchestra. He would be louder. He would express himself, and nothing could almost get into his way of expressing himself through his music. So Bronfman, for me, is my biggest inspiration when listening to recordings of this piece. So I like his performance the most.
Okay. What would be your dream come true, ultimate performing experience? Orchestra, or venue, or conductor, or partner, or all above?
Ever since I was small, my dream was to play on the biggest stages with the biggest orchestras in front of the biggest audiences. So for me, an ideal performance would, go something like Carnegie Hall in New York, 7 p.m. on a weekend where everyone can come watch with some of the biggest orchestras in the world, or by myself, because I love to play solo as well. So really, it's just it's hard to pinpoint a perfect performance because every performance to me is special. There is no one performance in mind, but I try to do my best for every single one of them.
And how would you like to see your future if you had a chance to choose?
I like to be a performer. I really love performing. I love the stage. There's really nothing like when you finish a piece and you're relieved and you see the audience, they're all clapping for you and you're taking a bow. There's really nothing like it in the world. So for me, it's exciting and it's something that I'd really like to pursue with everything I have right now. So my future, I like to be a performer, a concert pianist, give as many concerts as I physically can, and hope to inspire as much people as I can with the music I'm playing.
And that's all of the questions. Congratulations again.
Thank you so much.